Hey guys, this is Solution PODFIC, and today we're going to be reading The Right Substitution is Key by Addicted Apple. This is Chapter 14. Starfire's ship touched down outside the Hall of Justice. Jason and Bruce were the first people off the ship. Wonder Woman was there to meet them. "Batmans," she greeted. "I'm glad you have made it back safely." Jason and Bruce nodded to her. After so many weeks acting as Batman, it was hard for Jason to turn it off without conscious effort. She looked between them a few times. "Apologies, but I am not certain who is who?" Jason cracked a grin at the omission. "Ah," she said, focusing in on Jason. "Superman and Flash completed Stage 3 of your plan. They are rounding up the last of the imposters as we speak. The Green Lanterns will soon be here to take the Durlons away." She handed Jason some tech, and he looked down to see the results of his idea. Bruce glanced at the reading on the machine and raised his eyebrow in realization. Superman and Flash appeared beside Wonder Woman before Bruce could ask about it. "All done," Flash said cheerfully. "Good," Jason said. "We've got a whole ship full of people who need to be dropped back into their own lives." Flash saluted and said, "I will get on that as soon as I'm done saying hi to Nightwing." Then he was gone. Superman stuck around, reaching out to pat Bruce's shoulder. "I'm glad you and Nightwing are okay. Sorry we didn't realize sooner." Bruce grunted. Superman smiled as if Bruce had given him a perfectly suitable response. "I'll go help Flash with dropping people off. We should be done in a few minutes." Then Superman was gone too. "Shall we go inside?" Wonder Woman asked as Nightwing and Robin made their way off the ship to join the Batmans. Jason and Bruce nodded in sync. Shortly after, everyone was walking into the large holding cell full of human-shaped Durlons. "As I'm sure you've figured out by now," Jason told them, "your invasion has been solidly thwarted." The Durlon shaped like Nightwing growled at them. "It doesn't matter if you kill us. More will come. Humans and their overabundance of metagenes are too volatile to be left unchecked." Jason grinned threateningly at them. "I'm not going to kill you," he said. "Why would I? You guys are my messengers. I need you to go home and tell the rest of your people that Earth is off limits to you. You can't keep us away." "I won't have to," Jason said. "You're going to stay away because you want to, for one very good reason." He held up the atmosphere composition reader that Wonder Woman had handed him earlier and showed the Durlons the reading. The Durlons who could see the device recoiled. "With the help of some very brilliant minds and the work of those with super speed," Jason said, "Earth's atmosphere has been adjusted so that it is now 0.0001% gaseous cancelite. It's a completely harmless amount to most beings, but I'm sure you understand why breathing in any amount of cancelite may be bad for you Durlons." "I can't," one Durlon gasped. "I can't shift. I can't." "That's right," Jason agreed. "No Durlons who step foot on Earth will ever be able to change shape again. Consider this parting gift your punishment for trying to invade us. I'm sure you'll get used to your permanent human forms this time." The Durlons started freaking out amongst themselves, trying to shift and failing, crying in displeasure, falling to their knees in despair. "Soon the Green Lanterns will arrive to take you back home," Jason said. "So, have some nice lives, I guess. Just don't come back." Jason left and the other heroes followed. It took a few more hours for everyone to be properly wrapped up. Then Jason, Bruce, Dick, and Tim were finally able to return to the Batcave. They pulled off their masks as they walked in, all thoroughly exhausted. "Dad, you're back!" Steph exclaimed as she ran over. Bruce froze completely. Then Steph leapt at Jason for a hug, and Bruce seemed to realize that she had not been talking to him. This did little to counter his bewilderment. Jason was pretty sure Steph and Tim enjoyed calling him Dad more for the shock value than anything else. "Gramps," Steph greeted Bruce with a nod. "Little Dad brother," Cass greeted Jason. "Big brother and little brother," she greeted Dick and Tim. "Not brother Dad," she greeted Bruce. She gave each of them a hug. "What?" Bruce asked, not even sure where to start. "You've missed a number of significant events," Alfred informed him. "I can see that," Bruce said. "All the reports, videos, and comm archives are in the system," Babs said as she wheeled over. "You'll be able to catch up." She accepted a hug from Dick. "It's good to see you guys." Tim flopped into the chair by the Bat computer. "I'm so glad you're back. It was so hard to cover for you at Wayne Enterprise without letting on that you were gone. Then there was all the vigilante stuff. If it wasn't for Jason being here, Gotham would have been so screwed." Yes," Bruce said, turning to Jason. From what I've seen, you do well as Batman. I suppose now you have to be going back to where you came from. Do you have a way home? Jason faltered. He was being kicked out already? That was cold, even for Bruce. Jason said, trying to swallow his emotions. Yeah, I have my motorbike. Surely you can stay for a few more days, Dick said, latching onto Jason's arm. We could go and get ice cream. Dick, Bruce sighed. He's not our Jason. You have to let him go. Jason flinched. He knew he wasn't the same kid, but for a second, back on the ship, it seemed like maybe Bruce loved him anyway. Dick slid away and looked not unlike a kicked puppy. Oh my God, Tim said, voice filled to the brim with exasperation. He looked at Bruce, realization shining in his eyes. You think this is a version of Jason from an alternate universe? Bruce hesitated. Is he not? Steph started cackling. World's greatest detective, my ass. He's not even the greatest detective in this room. Bruce, Dick, Tim said soothingly. He is our Jason. He's your Jason. He came back to life. Talia threw him in the Lazarus pit. He's the Red Hood. Bruce and Dick stared at Tim. Then their eyes shifted to Alfred, who confirmed it with a nod. They looked at Babs, who did the same. The pattern continued with Steph and Cass, as if they couldn't bring themselves to believe the truth before every single person in the room had confirmed it. Finally, they dragged their eyes to Jason. This explains some of the weird phrasing you guys were using on the ship, Jason said, running a hand through his hair. He looked at them awkwardly. Yeah, hey, it's actually me. Bruce teetered. Whoa, Jason said, darting forward to catch him by the shoulders. Bruce looked across at him, actual tears streaming down his face. J-Lad? There was a lump in Jason's throat, making it difficult to speak, so he nodded. Bruce collided with Jason in a desperate hug, knocking the wind out of him. Yes, 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 yes! Dick chanted tearfully as he wrapped his arms around both of them. Jason froze for a moment. Tears built in his eyes. Then he hugged them back. This was nice. Bruce was happy. He was also very confused. These were two emotions Bruce was not accustomed to feeling lately, especially not at the same time. As everyone separated long enough to shower and put on sweats, Bruce stayed put. As everyone started moving upstairs to the manor, Bruce did not. Part of him wanted to follow the kids up there, but 3 months. He had missed 3 months. Anything could have happened, and Bruce needed to know what. He had to. Bruce planted himself in front of the Bat computer as everyone disappeared. Barbie made you a ketchup folder, Jason spoke from behind him. It startled Bruce, but he didn't show it. When he looked up, he found that he and Jason were alone in the cave. From body language, Bruce could tell Jason seemed on edge. However, Bruce couldn't tell why. Jason tried. I need to talk to you. Bruce waited patiently. You need to be better, Jason said. I know, Bruce said. I won't let anything like this happen again. Bruce had let himself and Dick get caught. He needed better contingencies, better alert system for ships entering Gotham's airspace. It had been sloppy to assume that the Watchtower would detect an intergalactic intruder before one could reach Gotham. No, Jason snapped. Whatever you think this is about, it's not. You need to be better for the kids. Oh, Bruce said, deflating. I'm sorry I failed you, Jason. I'm sorry I didn't save you. I've improved Robin's safety measures since. I've increased the level of training and added several more trackers to the... No, just shut up. Jason was breathing heavily, and Bruce knew that he was frustrated. Bruce wanted to ask why, but he didn't want to aggravate Jason further. Bruce waited. It's not about training or trackers or being 100 steps ahead, Jason rushed out. It's about supporting us. It's about being there for us and loving us. You took in all of us. Dick and me and Tim, and you don't even take it seriously. You don't think about what it means to take in a kid who has no one else. What responsibilities you should have. You can't just ignore us when things get difficult or throw us away when we disobey. You can't just shove us in costumes and direct our emotions towards beating up criminals. You can't just change your mind and take the costumes back when things get complicated. Tim and Steph deserve better than that. So does Cass. So does Dick. So do I. I shouldn't let you be Robin. But I shouldn't not let you be Robin? Bruce wanted to understand. He was trying so hard. But he could tell he was failing Jason. Again. And he wasn't even sure why. Bruce, you... Jason cut himself off and started restlessly pacing the cave. He abruptly stopped and turned back to make eye contact. Do you care about us? Do you love us? Finally, something Bruce understood. Of course I do. Well, that's not enough, Jason yelled back. Had Bruce answered that wrong too? You can't just know you love us, Jason said. Because sometimes we don't know you do. You have to act like you love us. You have to tell us. You have to be better. Jason was silent for a few seconds, staring off into space, but Bruce could tell he wasn't done talking, so Bruce stayed silent. Finally, Jason looked at him again and said, I didn't run to Ethiopia because you took Robin from me. I ran because I thought you didn't want me anymore. And Bruce's heart broke. Don't, Jason continued. Don't make the same mistake with Tim, Steph, and Cass. Be better. Then Jason was walking away before Bruce could figure out what to say, or even what to think. Bruce wanted to follow him, but he didn't know if that would help. He didn't know what Jason wanted from him, so he went back to the back computer and opened the folder that would brief him on recent events. Maybe it would help him understand what Jason had been saying. The first thing Bruce found in the folder was a PowerPoint titled, Why Red Hood Should Fill in for Batman. No doubt Tim made it. Bruce scrolled down through what looked like archived footage from the Batcave, their mask cams, and Gotham security cameras. There was also case reports, transcripts from meetings or correspondence with the Justice League, and spreadsheets of Gotham's crime or quality of life statistics. The last thing in the folder was another PowerPoint titled, Why Red Hood, Jason Todd Wayne, has been a great Batman. Bruce decided to start with the PowerPoints. The first told a neat story about the improvement to Crime Alley since Hood's intervention. It also detailed multiple instances of Hood saving Robin's life, and how Hood had demonstrated Batman's required skill set. It was well researched and logically argued, and it was also completely insane. Bruce would never have wanted a crime lord to be Batman, but that was what Bruce had always appreciated about Tim. Tim could see what needed to be done while everyone else was still floundering, and he would make it happen. The second PowerPoint was just as well made as the first. It detailed the evidence of Gotham's improvements in the months Jason had been Batman, and highlighted key events Jason had handled. Bruce could find little fault in the way Jason had operated. There were certainly instances where Bruce would have made different decisions, where Bruce would have prioritized Gotham, but Jason had stuck to Batman's ideals carefully while operating within his role. And that was what really mattered. He had appreciated problems in a way Bruce had never considered. But Gotham had measurably improved because of it. Jason didn't just cover for Bruce, he made Gotham better. Bruce had always known that his children would surpass him. He'd always known that Dick would become a better leader, that Tim would become a better detective, that Cass was the far superior fighter. Babs and Steph weren't his, but he'd known they'd surpass him in their own ways too. Babs had made herself the better hacker. Steph was moving towards a firmer moral character and better instincts than anything Bruce could hope to achieve. Jason always had more heart. Bruce had thought that Jason would grow to outclass him in work ethic and fighting spirit. He'd thought Jason would go on to college and outclass him in education. He'd thought Jason would outclass him in creating welfare initiatives and make Gotham better for people growing up like he did. In part, Bruce had been right. Red Hood had certainly prioritized making things better for the residents of Crime Alley, even if Bruce couldn't condone the methodology. However, it was clear from Tim's PowerPoint that, in certain areas, Jason had outclassed Bruce as Batman too. Bruce couldn't help the slight feeling of inadequacy this realization lended. He let that feeling go before it could manifest negatively. No father should ever be upset that their child had surpassed them. There was a time where Bruce thought Jason would never have the opportunity to surpass him in anything again. He was so happy that Jason had come back to prove him wrong. But as Bruce started watching the footage Barbara had gathered for him, He realized Jason hadn't only replaced him as Batman. As he watched Jason looking after Tim and Steph in a way Bruce had never attempted to, he started to understand what Jason had been trying to tell him earlier. The kids deserved so much more than what Bruce had been giving them. All his children deserved so much more. So, when Alfred interrupted his research by placing a sandwich in front of him, Bruce found himself asking, "How do I do better?" Alfred gave him a gentle smile. "That's a complicated question to answer. Self-improvement is a long process. But I think you already know where you should start." And Bruce found that he did. Jason was trying not to think about Bruce down in the Batcave, judging every single thing Jason had done since his return to Gotham. Part of him still expected Bruce to storm in and haul him off to Blackgate. Again, Jason was trying not to think about it. The rest of the Bats were dead tired, but also way too keyed up by everything that had happened to sleep. It was Dick who suggested a movie night, which quickly turned into a movie marathon. Babs had ducked out to crash in a guest room after the second movie, but almost everyone had started dozing off in their seats. Tim was currently fast asleep with his head on Jason's lap and his legs on Dick's. Jason couldn't resist running a gentle hand through Tim's hair every so often. Dick had an arm stretched out across Tim, so he could cling on to Jason's wrist. He hadn't moved his fingers off Jason's pulse the entire time. Steph and Cass were both cuddled together and out cold on the other couch. Jason couldn't help but startle when Dick spoke to him through the darkness in a hushed whisper. "Thank you." "Huh?" Jason murmured back. "Thank you for coming back," Dick said. I missed you. So much. I always thought I annoyed you more than anything else." "Of course you did. You're my little brother." God damn it. Jason had already cried enough today, and he refused to cry again. "I didn't know you thought that," he said. "I kind of thought you hated me sometimes." After a moment of silence, Dick said, "I never hated you. I was mad at Bruce and jealous of you, but that's no excuse for the cold shoulder I gave you in the beginning. I've always regretted taking so long to come around. I wasted so much time letting Bruce be between us and trying to figure out what it meant to be a big brother. I thought I'd have more time, then you were gone. Maybe if I hadn't been such a shit brother, you—" "Don't do that," Jason interrupted. "Don't blame yourself for what happened to me. I never blamed you. Not everything is about you, you know?" He shot Dick a smirk to get across that he was being playful. Dick sighed. "No matter what happens with Bruce, I just want you to know that you will always be my brother. Or, at least, I'll always think of you that way." "Ditto," Jason managed. He was not going to cry again. Dick squeezed his wrist. "I love you." "You're such a fucking sap, Dickie." "Just say you love him back, you asshole," Tim said, making both of his brothers jump. "Have you been awake this entire time?" Jason asked, lifting his hand away in surprise. "Obviously. Now put your hand back in my hair." Jason went back to running his fingers through Tim's silky locks. "Little shit." Dick grinned. "I love both my adorable little brothers." "We love you too," Tim said. "Right, Jay?" "Yeah, whatever. I love you guys too, I guess." Jason helped Alfred make breakfast for everyone the next morning. Cass was the first to join them, giving each of them a feather-light hug before planting herself at the kitchen table. Steph joined a few minutes later, demanding Jason make her waffles next time. Babs arrived just in time to agree that waffles were a good idea. Dick came down next, looking completely on edge until he was able to get a look at Jason and suddenly make some physical contact. Or, at least, Dick seemed to think he was being subtle. Tim stumbled in after, going right for the coffee machine. Bruce was the last to arrive, looking as if he hadn't slept at all and had only just remembered to change out of the Batsuit before leaving the Batcave. "Tim," Bruce grunted as he sat heavily at the breakfast table. "You asked a crime lord to be Batman." "That's what I said!" Steph exclaimed. "My judgment was sound," Tim said. "Look at how well everything ended up." "Yeah," Jason said sarcastically. "You better save the PowerPoint presentation for the next crime lord you meet." "It worked, didn't it?" Tim insisted. Bruce pinched the bridge of his nose. "I would like you to give me the opportunity to vet any future crime lords you may want to recruit." "No promises." Dick choked on his cereal. After watching parts of the Batcave footage from when I was gone, Bruce continued resolutely, it has also come to my attention that I am abysmal at emotions, that I don't know the first thing about healthy communication, and that I am a disaster who has never met a healthy habit in his entire adult life. Jason sunk down in his chair as Bruce looked pointedly at him. Whoops. Which is why, Bruce went on, I now understand that there are several things I need to say. He cleared his throat awkwardly and looked around the room, making eye contact with each of them. I love all of you. Everyone was speechless as Bruce continued. He set his gaze on Jason. No matter how each of us may change, or what things we may do, or what mistakes we may make, I will always love all of you. He swept his eyes over to Tim. Each of you will always have a place here as long as you want to consider it home, even if you don't want to. He looked at Steph. You will always be worthy and have nothing to prove to me. Then at Dick. None of you are replaceable. Cass. I will always consider everyone here my family. Babs. You are all brilliant and strong individuals. Alfred. And I will always be grateful that you are all in my life. No one said a word as they absorbed everything Bruce had just said. Then Bruce reached for his breakfast, acting like he hadn't just emotionally compromised the entire room. A smile twitched across Jason's face as he followed Bruce's lead and returned to his breakfast. For the first time since Jason had come back to the manor, he didn't feel like everything was about to be ripped away. Actually, for the first time in a long time, he felt a little optimistic. For the first time in a long time, he felt like everything was going to be alright. Alright guys, and that is the end of The Right Substitution is Key by Addicted Apple. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you next video.